Do you have the schedule that we were using last time of the two affidavits before you?
Yes, I do.
All right. Could I ask you to go to page 22, to paragraph 34 on the left-hand side?
Yes, I'm there.
When we ended last time, we were talking about the trip to Mauritius.
Yes.
Did you say page 22?
22, paragraph 34.
Where is my register? You said page 22, paragraph 34.
So, Chairperson, I'm referring to my schedule.
Oh, okay. She has given me the big file. I don't think the schedule is in the big file. It's separate. And unfortunately, we have a different registrar today, not the one we had last week.
Chairperson, I think we have a spare copy. Can I hand that up to you?
Okay, thank you.
22.
Thank you.
So when we broke last time, Mr. Gigaba, we were dealing with this Mauritius trip, which you mentioned Ms. Mangoma had paid for. I just want to bring to your attention that her evidence was, although she refers to it here as a honeymoon trip to Mauritius, her evidence was that it occurred shortly before your wedding. What's your comment on that?
I think she mistook the date. It happened after the wedding.
All right. Ms. Mangoma then goes on at paragraphs 35 and 36 to mention that, again, continuing to deal with Ms. Mnyeni, that agreements between the two of you, you and Ms. Mnyeni, then began to emerge. What is your comment on that?
There were, I wouldn't call them disagreements. I would say there were issues that maybe yes, it was disagreements, but it was with regard to a particular issue at SAA, though I don't recall what it was. I remember that it was covered briefly in the media during the time where I spoke quite strongly because I felt, I think this must have been around, around either late 2013 or early 2014, but it was not disagreements on everything. It was just on a specific issue, which might have arisen during the time when the new head of the pilots was being appointed, because I think it was during an interview on that date that I was asked a question at which I spoke quite strongly, because I felt that the chairperson of the board at the time was taking a wrong direction.
Then at paragraph 37, Ms. Mangoma says that on Sundays, the two of you would, I beg your pardon, regularly lunch in Sandton, and then when driving home, she would overhear telephone discussions that you had with Ms. Mnyeni, and that you would sometimes share the detail of those discussions with her, which included that you didn't understand why she had been appointed as the chair of SAA because you didn't believe she was competent, that she would feed information to the former president without telling you, and that when you didn't want to follow instructions of AJ Gupta or Ms. Mnyeni, one or other of them would phone the former president to complain. Ms. Mnyeni would then pass on instructions from President Zuma to you, which would upset you. and you believe that you should have had a direct line of communication to the former president and not receive instructions via Ms. Mnyeni because you didn't report to her. Do you want to comment on that, please?
Yes, thank you. It is also untrue that every Sunday or regularly on Sundays we would have lunch in Sandton. That is untrue. And now let me deal with the first issue. You know, it would have been ridiculous of me, Chairperson, to say I didn't understand why Ms. Mnyeni had been appointed Chairperson of SAA because I appointed her. Now, if I say I didn't understand why she was appointed, I would have been referring to myself because I was Minister of Public Enterprises when she was appointed first acting Chairperson when the board resigned, when the majority of board members resigned, and subsequently when we requested Cabinet to appoint a new board and requested Cabinet to approve her appointment as Chairperson as one of the people who had served in the previous board, which had been appointed, I think, by Minister Barbara Hocken. So I'm the one who appointed the new board, who appointed Ms. Mnyeni as the Chairperson of the board. So I couldn't say I didn't understand why she had been appointed Chairperson. And so the issues of my understanding of the reasons for her appointment as well as questioning her competency cannot arise and would not have arisen from me. Secondly, I am not aware of any information that Ms. Mnyeni would feed to the former president. If I needed to discuss issues with the board of SAA, I either convened the Chairperson and the CEO of the board and discussed issues with them, or I would request special general meetings of the board in order to raise certain issues with the board, or the department would engage either the board or the executive management of SAA to discuss matters relating to the airline. Any other thing that seeks to suggest that there was information that Ms. Mnyeni fed to the president is a fabrication. There was no such view from me. And if the president needed to discuss issues with me which relate to SAA or other state-owned enterprises, he would do so officially, either when we present memos in cabinet or so. Now, it is also not true, Chairperson, that I was expected to follow instructions either from Mr. Ajay Gupta or Ms. Mnyeni. Ms. Mnyeni never passed any instructions to me from the president. And so the issue of me being upset by this actually does not arise. Yeah, and so the rest of 37.3 is just inaccurate because there was no, as I've said, there was no information passed to me from the president through Ms. Mnyeni. The president, if he needed to talk to me as one of his ministers, he would call me directly and talk to me.
Well, I see that here in this paragraph, she